and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, new information is coming to light about the double homicide in Bath.
Plus, we'll tell you what you need to know as early voting gets underway in Maine.
And if you are struggling with childcare costs, there may be hope in sight as one organization is stepping up to help.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up, including the latest on Hurricane Milton. A lot of people are talking about that this morning. It's just a monster hurricane that's churning in the Gulf this morning, heading towards Florida. Thousands of people are currently on the road, trapped in traffic jams, trying to get the heck out of town.
That's if they were able to find gas and to hit the road at all. Seems like airports have been shut down. We will have the latest. It's teetering. I'm not sure. It's changed in the past hour, whether it's been a Category 4 or a 5, but we'll have the latest later on in the show.
Yeah.
In the meantime, let's get a look at that local forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. We got some fog greeting us this morning from across parts of Bar Harbor and parts of Washington County, even areas further up towards the north, dealing with some areas of dense fog this morning. That will be going away as we get the day going. There is a small crowd advisory that is up until 8 a.m. this morning. I wouldn't be surprised to see that extended or reissued as some active surf will continue moving forward. It's also a frost advisory that will expire 9 a.m. Wednesday morning along the western parts of the state, so that should get going coming up later on tonight. But for now, we are watching rain. It's been tracking from the south and west, going to the north and east. That will continue this morning, and then this afternoon the rain ends and decreasing clouds will be common for the afternoon. Zooming things out for the time being, again, here's the active weather right here, tracking from the southwest to the north and east. Again, the rain will start to wrap up later on this morning, and the clouds break up during the afternoon period. Futurecast moving forward, showing decreasing clouds for the rest of the day, looking pretty good later on tonight, although maybe a few clouds and maybe even some rain showers possible later on tonight and parts of early Wednesday morning. As for the winds, not too bad, roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour, maybe some higher gusts along the coast. The winds calm down later on tonight, but they pick up a bit as we head towards Wednesday morning. So your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, showing the rain tapering off with less clouds for the afternoon period. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. We'll have another look at that forecast a little later on. Well, first thing this morning, new information on the double homicide in Bath and the mother and daughter shot and killed on their front lawn as they tried to leave. State police say 66-year-old Michael Bailey is suspected of killing his wife and adult daughter Sunday morning at their home in Bath before taking his own life. Brad Rogers spoke with a witness who saw the women get shot.
A man who lives on this block told me he heard a loud commotion and then screaming coming from this house. He then looked out the window and saw the mother and daughter leave and walk towards their car when they were shot from behind. A witness laid out the grim events he says he saw play out on the front lawn of a Crawford Drive home in Bath Sunday. He says a gunman fired shots at the victims, then went back into the home. Minutes later came the sound of another single gunshot. State police say 58-year-old Lisa Bailey and her 32-year-old daughter Jenny died at the scene. Police say suspected gunman Michael Bailey died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
He wasn't the nicest of people. It's always when he came home I'd have to leave from visiting.
Rachel McCrae says she and Jenny Bailey were childhood friends. She and others placed flowers at the home of the victims.
I'd always come over and spend time with her. Her mom worked at Pizza and More. Every time she saw me, she'd always ask how I was doing.
A family friend told us Michael Bailey was a veteran that was dealing with a number of health problems. 2 weeks ago, Bath police were twice called to the Bailey's home for some type of domestic disturbance. The police chief says with the ongoing homicide investigation, he could not go into detail. But he says to his knowledge, the mother and daughter did not have a protection order. Lisa Bailey had been working at Plant Memorial Home, an assisted living center in Bath.
It's important to us that she not get lost in this. She's just an incredible lady, cared deeply about everyone that came in contact with her. It's important to focus on the victims of these types of crimes. They don't deserve in any way what happened to them, and she was just a beautiful person.
Plant Memorial Home is planning on holding a community-wide candlelight vigil for Lisa Bailey and her daughter Jenny sometime this week. In Bath, Brad Rogers.
Well, in other news, police are investigating a stabbing Sunday night in Sanford outside a Family Dollar store. It happened in the parking lot of Midtown Mall around 10 p.m. rather. Sanford police say they found the 59-year-old victim on his knees, bleeding, with bystanders helping him. Police say he was taken to Maine Medical Center for stab wounds to his back and side. Police say they do not think this is part of a pattern of new violence in Sanford.
This is not a trend that we're seeing. Obviously, there was a stabbing a couple of months ago and another one today. I do not believe they're related, but we're obviously investigating and we'll see where the evidence leads us.
Sanford police say the suspect had long hair and was wearing jeans, a backwards cap, and multicolored hoodie. Police are looking for any witnesses or anyone with video of what happened to reach out to them.
A man is now facing murder charges following a fire last month in the town of Mexico. That's where a woman's body was discovered in the remains of a home on Tucker Street. Authorities believe 23-year-old Elijah Cowper is responsible for killing 23-year-old Lacey Tidswell and setting the fire. Her body was found in the home on September 26th. Cowper is now charged with murder and arson. He was already being held at the York County Jail on an unrelated charge when the new charges were filed.
A camper rolled over on Interstate 95 Monday morning following a two-vehicle crash. State police say the driver of a Subaru struck a truck hauling a camper in Augusta, causing the camper to roll over in the northbound lanes. No one was hurt, but the camper was blocking both lanes. Crews worked quickly to remove the wreckage, and both lanes were reopened by about 11:30 Monday morning.
Officials are investigating a crash that came to light after the person involved failed to report it. At about 8:30 Sunday morning, Liberty Fire and Rescue was called to the scene of a vehicle in a bog off of Howes Cove. Fire Chief Bill Gillespie says they found a small child's jacket floating in the water. He says they did a thorough search for any occupants, including in the water, to determine if they needed to rescue or recover someone.
Without having the person on scene, it made our recovery effort more than it needed to be. We could have immediately just started dealing with the hazmat issue upon arriving on scene and gotten the vehicle out of the water far quicker.
It was later determined the person driving had been taken to the hospital sometime before and did not report the accident. Emergency crews say leaving the scene of an accident without reporting it is a crime. The Waldo County Sheriff's Office is investigating.
The November 5th election may still be about a month away, but early voting is now underway. It kicked off yesterday. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard spoke with Maine's top election official to learn more.
Mainers should know that absentee voting has started all across the state.
Secretary of State Shanna Bellows is Maine's top election official. She says Monday marks 29 days until the general election on November 5th, but you don't have to wait to cast your ballot.
You can visit your town office to get your ballot. You can call your clerk and make a request. You can go online to our absentee ballot request system. There are lots of ways to request your absentee ballot in person, online, or over the phone, or through the mail.
A number of election officials across the country, including Secretary Bellows, wrote a letter to U.S. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, voicing concerns that changes to how the U.S. Postal Service handles mail could negatively impact absentee ballots being counted in elections if delays in mail delivery, like they are currently seeing, continue.
That being said, if you're voting absentee, doing it well in advance of the election is the #1 way to make sure that your vote is returned to the clerk and is counted.
Secretary Bellows says if you're concerned that your ballot may not make it to the clerk on time through the mail, there are other options, such as returning it to the clerk by hand or by using ballot drop boxes that many municipalities across the state have.
Whatever you do, absentee ballots must be received by 8 p.m. on Election Day.
The most important thing, Secretary Bellows says, is to make sure your vote gets counted and your voice gets heard.
You make your plan, register to vote, and go vote.
In Augusta, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
The town of Orrington's fire chief says they've made considerable progress in extinguishing the fire at Eagle Point Energy Center that began almost a week ago. Chief Scott Stewart says the air quality has changed at the site, and he hopes to have all of the hotspots fully extinguished by this Friday. In a late afternoon press conference at the Orrington Fire and Rescue Department, Chief Stewart and Town Manager Chris Backman talked about the progress that was made over the weekend. Backman said AIM Recycling has 2 pieces of equipment pulling trash from the pile, and a board member with Juniper Ridge Landfill has approved that debris be sent to their site.
Our best guess right now is 15 loads been taken out of there, and we're hoping to get 20 for the day.
Backman says this event should not impact the town of Orrington's budget. All right, the time now is 8:10. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the cost of childcare has been rising dramatically in the United States, so one organization in Maine is stepping up to help struggling families.
We'll tell you how coming up, but first another check of that weather forecast. It looks like the rain will be coming to an end this morning. Showers decreasing with highs around 60 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy with just a few late showers. Lows dropping down to the upper 30s. Tomorrow, another partly cloudy day on the way with a chance of a few showers with highs in the upper 50s. We'll be right back.
I'm Craig Poulin, retired chief of the Maine State Police. My investigations were fact-based with evidence leading to sound conclusions. A sound conclusion on Jared Golden is easily reached. He's on our side. Jared stood against defunding the police and worked with Republicans to strengthen the border. Jared is a Maine sportsman and gun owner who respects and supports the Second Amendment, and he opposes unnecessary and unhelpful gun legislation. Take it from me, Jared Golden is fighting to keep your family safe.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
When you're ready to tackle your next building project, depend on the knowledge and experience of Hammond Lumber Company. Hammond's Home Planning Center will turn your ideas into accurate conceptual drawings, and 3D visualization is available. Your Hammond sales rep will prepare a materials list and cost estimate. And when you buy all of your materials from them, Hammond will refund all of your design fees. Hammond can deliver your order from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner since 1953.
Did you know sweat from stress is actually smellier than other kinds of sweat? That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It works on sweat from stress, heat, and activity. It provides 3 times stress sweat protection. Secret works.
Jordan's sore nose let out a fiery sneeze, so Dad grabbed Puffs Plus lotion to soothe her with ease. Puffs Plus lotion is gentle on sensitive skin and locks in moisture to provide soothing relief. A nose in need deserves Puffs indeed. America's #1 lotion tissue.
RSV can be dangerous for infants and some young children and is the leading cause of infant hospitalization in the U.S. So what can you do? The Centers for Disease Control recommends protecting your baby from getting very sick by getting an RSV immunization for infants and some older babies, or even an RSV vaccine given to the mother during pregnancy, which could make a shot for an infant unnecessary. Protect your baby today. This message brought to you by the Maine CDC, this station, and the Maine Association of Broadcasters.
Welcome back, everyone. Families in central and western Maine may qualify to have their child care costs in part or in full thanks to a new endowment by the Catholic Foundation of Maine. They'll cover the cost. According to the foundation, the money for the endowment comes from Father Arthur Dubé and Emma Rosignol, who gave the money to the Sisters of St. Joseph of Lyon in Winslow. The endowment was unveiled in Waterville yesterday and will help cover child care costs for underserved workers and those enrolled or those who wish to enroll in certificate or degree programs.
Knowing that working families are still struggling, that child care is a significant need, and it continues to be a need that's greater than many organizations are able to support. So the Sisters of St. Joseph made that decision to direct funds for child care and partnered with the Catholic Foundation of Maine to invest those funds, permanently restricted for this purpose.
Wells adds that the public is encouraged to donate to the endowment by contacting the Sisters of St. Joseph of Lyon in Winslow.
A church in Eddington is spearheading efforts to get needed items to those impacted by Hurricane Helene. Efforts to find survivors are still ongoing. Towns remain cut off, and people who lost much of what they own are desperate for everyday items. In order to help, the East Eddington Community Church has been collecting baby formula, diapers, food, water, blankets, flashlights, and non-perishable food items from Mainers all across the state. Pastor Eric Mitchell says it started with his parishioners and some posts on Facebook.
We never thought that it would really be as big as it was. Initially, we thought maybe we could fill a snowmobile trailer and head down, and now we're talking a 53-foot box trailer, so it's awesome.
Mitchell says people came from as far away as Washington and Aroostook counties to donate. The plan is to send the items to a church in Vermont, where they will be transported to affected areas. Church officials say they hope to send the items out today to meet the immediate need.
A seasonal music school in the town of Blue Hill is in desperate need of repairs. Kniesel Hall was built in the 1920s, created by Frank Kniesel, a violinist from one of the first string quartets in the United States. This chamber hall is used for 10 weeks a year by international faculty, students, and guest artists who also offer weekly public performances to those in the community. This musicians' retreat is credited with creating some of the world's leading chamber musicians. However, in the past couple of years, the building has been faced with water and structural damage issues, which is why it is on the Maine Preservation's 2024 list of endangered and historical places.
The chimney is failing. It's not sitting on a secure foundation. This building wasn't built on a solid foundation below the frost line. So over the course of many, many winters of freezing and thawing, the building is now tilting.
Amato says a capital campaign is now in the works to help restore Kniesel Hall. She says the nonprofit is working with local stonemasons, architects, and experts to determine the next steps for that historical building. Nice to hear that they're working to preserve it.
Yeah. All right, the time now is 8:17. After the break, fresh on the heels of Hurricane Helene, Florida is bracing itself for another hurricane that's building in the Gulf of Mexico.
We'll take you there as Good Morning Maine continues.
I'll stand up to any politician, even in my own party, who tries to cut Social Security. I put people over politics, and I always will. I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message to protect Social Security.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in podorthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or the hard-to-fit foot. Discover the latest in functional and fashionable footwear for men and women from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Merrell, and Ariat. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit-and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Class-leading safety features at every turn. A Hyundai Tucson.
Lease an all-wheel drive Tucson for $229 a month, or get 1.99% APR, or up to $1,250 bonus cash. Hurry in.
Irresistibly smooth milk chocolate from the Lindt Master Chocolatier. Lindor. Made to melt you. And now, discover a new non-dairy Lindor. Made with oat milk. Made to melt you.
I'll stand up to any politician, even in my own party, who tries to cut Social Security. I put people over politics, and I always will. I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message to protect Social Security.
Now to Hurricane Milton, which was downgraded overnight to a Category 4 storm, but still poses as a massive and historic threat.
It is the first time that Tampa could take a direct hit in decades. Up to 15 feet of storm surge is possible in areas that are still recovering from Hurricane Helene.
ABC's Rena Roy is in Tampa with the latest.
Good morning. The warnings about Milton sound more unnerving by the hour. Officials calling it the storm of the century.
This morning, the mass exodus from Florida's Gulf Coast is underway, with Hurricane Milton exploding into a once-in-a-lifetime storm.
This is going to be an event like none other. Helene was mostly a water event for us. This is going to be wind, water, storm surge, rain, you name it.
Hurricane hunters flying into the center of Milton, monitoring the historically rapid growth of the storm. In just hours, becoming the strongest hurricane in the Gulf in nearly 2 decades, fueled by the warmer than usual water. You can see satellite images of the storm as it churns in the ocean. Milton is expected to weaken into a Category 3 storm before potentially making landfall sometime Wednesday night or early Thursday near Tampa Bay. 15 inches of rain possible, and the Tampa area could see up to 15 feet of storm surge.
We want everybody to be safe, but if you stay in an evacuation zone, I can't promise you that you'll be safe.
Airports in Tampa and Orlando shutting down. Schools in at least 20 counties closed today. Many more following suit on Wednesday. Millions across the state rushing to prepare once again, less than 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene devastated parts of the state. People stocking up on supplies, grocery store shelves running bare.
FEMA says 20 million meals and 40 million liters of water are ready to go, and 30,000 workers from as far as California are standing by to help restore power. Rena Roy, ABC News, Tampa, Florida.
What a scary situation for everyone down there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are now unable to get out because not only, like we just heard, airports are closed, but you know, it's hard to get gas when everybody is told to evacuate.
Yeah, what do you do in that case?
Right,
So,
scary. All right, the time now is 8:21.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Dense fog across parts of Bar Harbor and the parts of Washington County and the northern parts of the state this morning. We'll get this out of here as we get the day going. We do also have a small craft advisory that is set to expire at around 8 a.m. this morning, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it extended as active surf will continue along the coast. Frost advisory kicks in later on tonight until Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. for the western parts of the state. Wave heights looking very active out there right now at around 6 to 7 feet according to the buoys. Notice further out towards sea, even more active at around 11 to 13 feet, so they're dealing with active weather in that department. Meanwhile, though, here on land, we do have rain that's been passing through, tracking from the southwest going to the north and east. Again, throughout the morning, the rain will begin to taper off, and then this afternoon, decreasing clouds will be common. So let's zoom things out right now. Again, the rain is tracking off towards the north and east for us, so notice more active weather across parts of Florida, just a few showers for now. But of course, Hurricane Milton on everyone's mind right now, whether you're in the path of the storm or not. Look at this thing right now, a Category 4 major hurricane. This thing is really strong, going through an eyewall replacement cycle this morning. And right now, the latest update has at around 155 miles per hour, Category 4 hurricane, knocking on the door of a Category 5. We have hurricane warnings up across parts of Florida right about in here. Tropical storm warnings being indicated in the orange. And the latest projected path, and this is just for the center of the storm, has it going through Florida, possibly by Thursday morning as a major Category 3 hurricane, and areas near the Fort Myers area, near parts of Tampa, and even just slightly further off towards the north. Anywhere there's a hurricane warning, these will be the areas that could see the worst impacts here, but anywhere there's advisories up, we'll see some kind of impacts from this system as it does pass through later on this week. But back here at home, though, a lot calmer. So the rain gets out of here, and then decreasing clouds for the rest of the day. Later on tonight, starting off clear, some clouds pass through, maybe a few passing showers at times too later on tonight, and at parts of Wednesday morning, nothing too ridiculous there. Notice a few more showers as we head towards Wednesday evening, but the clouds do linger though as we head towards early Thursday morning, maybe a few showers as well. So your forecast coming up for today, morning showers and decreasing clouds for the rest of the day with highs in the low 60s, northwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. Later on tonight, upper 30s, partly cloudy, some rain showers may move in late, with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, upper 50s, partly cloudy, a few rain showers are possible. Southwest wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast with a few more showers possible. Wednesday to Thursday, temperatures in the 50s. We're partly cloudy by Friday with highs in the low 60s. More showers on the way for you Saturday with highs in the low 60s.
Back again, huh? You must love losing.
You're buying the next one.
You gotta win one first.
Okay.
Get 2 of your McDonald's favorites like the McDouble or McChicken for $3.99 or mix and match. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Washington works for the wealthy and elites in places like New York City, while leaving us behind.
Congress is broken. It's not getting the job done. We need both parties to work together to lower electric bills, stop the flow of fentanyl, end the Biden-Harris inflation, and protect Social Security.
Congress should work for us. We must bring balance to Washington and put people over politics.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Sometimes your work shirt needs to be for more than just work. Like when it needs to be a big, soft shoulder to cry on. Which is why Downy does more to make clothes softer, fresher, and better. Downy, breathe life into your laundry.
Here on the internet, you can pretend to be anything.
Like a medical professional.
Or a skilled electrician.
Don't trust the unfiltered internet. Angie has 30 years of experience finding the best pros.
Angie, job's done well.
After an accident, the insurance company often wants to rush you into accepting their fair offer. Don't sign away your rights.
I didn't trust the insurance company.
They were wanting to settle fast and cheap. How much is your case worth? It's probably worth more than you've been told.
I called Joe.
I found out what my case was really worth.
Say yes to maximum compensation, to everything you deserve. Call the firm that has been getting justice for Mainers for 50 years.
Tell them you mean business.
Any slow sipper knows you'll enjoy your drink from McDonald's longer than anyone else.
Savor every sip of your favorite any-size soft drink for just $1.29. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back, everyone. Yesterday marked 1 year since Hamas launched its deadliest attack in Israel's history, which killed about 1,200 people and took roughly 250 hostages. A sea of mourners gathered at the site of the Nova Music Festival to honor the nearly 400 attendees who were killed there. Officials estimate a third of the roughly 100 remaining hostages are now dead. While a temporary ceasefire helped free some people in November, another deal has yet to be secured. Retaliation from Israel has killed several Hamas leaders, while also killing more than 41,000 Palestinians and displacing millions.
Yesterday marked the start of a new term for the Supreme Court, and there's plenty of hot-button issues the court will be addressing. Fox's David Spunt has all the details from Washington.
The first Monday in October, the traditional start to the Supreme Court term, and there are already some key cases on the calendar. On Tuesday, the justices will hear a Second Amendment dispute over ghost guns, unfinished parts that turn regular guns into untraceable ones. The arguments will surround the Biden administration's regulation of these guns. The justices will also wade into the controversy over gender-affirming care for minors. This is considered an equal protection challenge to a Tennessee state ban on gender-affirming and certain transition-related care for minors. Tennessee is one of 25 states that have such measures. This will mark the first time the Supreme Court will consider restrictions on puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and transition surgery for minors.
When we're talking about children, minors, I think it's probably not unconstitutional in light of all of the other ways states can regulate minors differently than states can regulate adults.
But the wild card is whether the court will get involved in any election-related disputes over things like early voting, voter ID, and state certification of the results.
Anytime the court wades into political waters, it's going to be upsetting people, people who are on the side that loses. I think the court recognizes that it's not something that it wants to do, but in some cases it has no choice.
On Monday, the court declined to modify a Texas law that bans most emergency abortions. In Washington, David Spunt, Fox News.
The Nobel Prize season has officially kicked off. Americans Victor Ambrose and Gary Ruvkin were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine Monday for their discovery of microRNA, which are molecules that govern how gene activity is regulated.
The Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institutet has today decided to award the 2024 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine jointly to Victor Ambros and Gary Ruvkun for the discovery of microRNA and its role in post-transcriptional gene regulation.
Now, Mr. Ambrose is a professor at the University of Massachusetts Medical School in Worcester, and Mr. Ruvkun is a professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School. The two split the $1 million award. Nobel announcements continue for the rest of the week, with the Physics Prize being awarded today, Chemistry tomorrow, Literature on Thursday, and the Peace Prize on Friday, along with the Economics Award on October 14th. We're talking about some very bright people. I will not be up for a Nobel Prize this year.
No, not this year.
Not this year.
All right, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll take a look back into Maine's history to the Battle of Hamden and the remnants of the fight there that are still with us today.
That and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
To prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness, we're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
Back by popular demand, the Lucerne Inn in Dedham presents its amazing Sunday brunch. Join us every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a culinary experience like no other. Indulge in an exquisite selection of dishes, all while enjoying breathtaking views. Seating is limited, so reservations are recommended, but walk-ins are always welcome. The Lucerne Inn Sunday brunch, where great food meets a spectacular view. Call today to reserve your spot.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, and it is also National Face Your Fears Day.
Whether you have a deep-seated fear of public speaking or are terrified of spiders, this day is an opportunity to step out and overcome things that are holding you back. Fear can be useful in protecting us from danger, but when we allow it to become debilitating, we limit ourselves from experiencing all the world has to offer. This is a day to stand up and challenge ourselves and try to overcome some of those things that have been holding us back. Because it's true, some of the things we fear aren't actually going to hurt us at all. It's just anxiety around a problem that it's us trying to have control about something that we can't really control.
Yeah. Sometimes when you do these things too, you realize, well, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Right.
But, this is a day to take little steps to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
All right, time for history. On this day in history, back in 1871, the Great Fire of Chicago broke out. It ignited in a barn and burned for 2 straight days. As many as 300 people were killed, more than 17,000 homes were destroyed, and thousands were left homeless by that terrible fire. In 1945, the Raytheon Manufacturing Company filed a patent for what's now a staple in American kitchens. In fact, they're in kitchens all around the world. An employee named Percy Spencer discovered that microwave radiation could cook and reheat foods, and the microwave oven was born. That is the Chicago fire. There's the microwave we're talking about, and Percy there. He was apparently studying ways to use microwaves with radar and other things with big institutional implications, but he ended up melting some things in his pocket, and it was some candy. And then he goes, "Ooh, wonder what caused that?" And then next thing you know, they're inventing a microwave oven.
Well, I hope he lived a long life.
Yeah.
A long, healthy life.
Yeah, what caused that to,
That's pretty concerning if it was melting things in his pocket.
I wonder what else it was melting, too.
Right.
All right, in 1956, Donald James Larson of the New York Yankees pitched the first perfect game in the history of the World Series. And in 1957, Jerry Lee Lewis recorded Great Balls of Fire, one of his biggest hits.
In 1982, the musical Cats began a run of nearly 18 years on Broadway. In 1997, scientists reported the Mars Pathfinder had discovered that what could be the strongest evidence yet that Mars might once have been hospitable to life. In 2003, it was announced the Siegfried and Roy show at the Mirage in Las Vegas was permanently canceled after Roy Horn was attacked by a tiger while on stage. And in 2001, the Office of Homeland Security was founded less than 1 month after the September 11th attacks. And in 2017, famous film producer Harvey Weinstein was fired from his company following allegations that he was responsible for decades of sexual harassment against female actors and employees.
All right, for birthdays today, we have actor Matt Damon, who is 54 years old today. I just love just about everything that guy does. Singer Bruno Mars is 39 today, and actress Sigourney Weaver is 75 years old today.
Yeah, I love
Happy
her.
birthday to all of them.
She is awesome. Yeah. All right, moving on now. It looks like kind of a cloudy day.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
All righty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. We got some fog greeting us this morning from across parts of Bar Harbor and parts of Washington County, even areas further off towards the north, dealing with some areas of dense fog this morning. Now, we'll be going away as we get the day going. There is a small crowd advisory that is up until 8 a.m. this morning. I wouldn't be surprised to see that extended or reissued as some active surf will continue moving forward. It's also a frost advisory that will expire 9 a.m. Wednesday morning along the western parts of the state, so that should get going coming up later on tonight. But for now, we are watching rain. It's been tracking from the south and west, going to the north and east. That will continue this morning, and then this afternoon the rain ends and decreasing clouds will be common for the afternoon. Zooming things out for the time being, again, here's the active weather right here tracking from the southwest to the north and east. Again, the rain will start to wrap up later on this morning, and the clouds break up during the afternoon period. Futurecast moving forward, showing decreasing clouds for the rest of the day. Looking pretty good later on tonight, although maybe a few clouds and maybe even some rain showers possible later on tonight and parts of early Wednesday morning. As for the winds, not too bad. Roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour, maybe some higher gusts along the coast. The winds calm down later on tonight, but they pick up a bit as we head towards Wednesday morning. So your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, showing the rain tapering off with less clouds for the afternoon period. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. Well, there's a pair of British soldiers not a lot of Mainers know about that are buried in the town of Hampden. They were casualties in what is known as the Battle of Hampden.
Our Jody Hersey went to the old burying ground to learn more.
There's no plaques, there's no monuments to this battle, and yet it's probably the biggest battle in the state of Maine.
Jim Husson is referring to the Battle of Hampden, which took place in 1814 and was part of the War of 1812.
The British were well equipped, the Americans were not well equipped. When the British came rushing up the hill with bayonets, the Americans turned and ran.
Husson is the president of the Hampden Historical Society. He says 500 or more British soldiers came looking for the USS Adams, which happened to run aground on Isle Ho and was being repaired along the Penobscot River in September of 1814. Husson said the USS Adams and its men were responsible for capturing over 10 British ships, and the British wanted revenge. Hampden just happened to be in the crosshairs. When the British arrived, a man from Frankfort named Tobias Oakman was captured and used as a guide.
He, along with an infantryman for the British, were killed. There was also a seaman that was killed.
The Battle of Hampden lasted less than an hour, but the 2 British soldiers who died in that fight are buried in the old burying ground cemetery behind the former Hampden Fire Station.
We honor the fallen soldiers, no matter who.
Local author and retired teacher Angelique Perrault wrote about the Battle of Hampden in her children's book called The Professor's Key.
History to me is a mystery to be explored, and I want kids to feel the same way.
Hampden resident and historian Robert Hawes feels some good did come from the Battle of Hampden.
It did serve a purpose because it brought to the attention of the governor of Massachusetts the plight of these people, and it did speed up the statehood of Maine. So in a way it had a good ending.
In Hampden, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I'd heard rumors about it, but I didn't know exactly where they are.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have the latest with sports.
And if you've been looking to adopt a pet, we have a special guest joining us to tell us about a special deal coming up. That and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
A new law that outlawed abortion past 6 weeks in all cases.
These laws make me sick and heartbroken.
The government shouldn't be in the examining room.
It's extremists that don't allow women to have choice.
It's none of your business.
Austin Terrio is on the same side as the extremists who want to have a national abortion ban.
And these extremists, they're going to try to control women.
What else will they ban? What else will they monitor? What other privacy will we lose? Austin Terrio scares me.
Ye Old General, located in Carmel, has everything you could ever need. Whether it be kerosene, regular or ethanol-free gasoline, wood pellets, a fresh-cooked pizza, or fried food, they've got you covered. Looking to get a stiff drink after work? Ye Old General is an agency liquor store with a great selection of alcohol. Ye Old General can help with your next home project, carrying carpentry supplies from hammers and nails to specialty nuts and bolts. They have what you need to get the job done. Stop by Ye Old General today. If you don't think they'll have it, they probably do.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry and Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're gonna fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
The stage is set.
Oh, here we go, here we go. It's gonna be good. Season 12! Whoa!
She can sing.
I can't wait to see what else happens in season 12, guys.
Northwestern. Touchdown! Takes on Ty Felton and Maryland. Wow! Fox College Football Friday kicks off at 8 Eastern.
The wait is finally over. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Jeremy Swayman is back with the Boston Bruins to the tune of 8 years and $66 million. The former Black Bear and the Bruins finally reaching an agreement to end the goalie's holdout early on Sunday, just 2 days before Boston is set to open the season against the Florida Panthers. As an unrestricted free agent, Swayman had yet to report to Bruins camp, and he has not played in a preseason game either, but Jim Montgomery called him a potential starter for Tuesday's opener. Swayman was one of the best goalies in the league this past postseason, helping his case for a market-setting deal. And despite all that happened in the negotiation process, both sides are looking forward to the future.
We wanted Jeremy in our lineup, and he wants to play hockey. Ultimately, he wanted to play for the Boston Bruins, and that's the result. So, you know, we're happy moving forward, and we got some roster stuff we have to do as a result of that. Yesterday, I had some cap space. Today, I don't have as much.
The fact that we went through this, process and the tools that I learned with it, it's gone now. And all I care about is being a Bruin, and the fact that I could do that for 8 years and instill myself as a leader and as a true member of this city is all I care about right now.
Moving on to some football now. No game this past Saturday for Maine football, so they had some extra time to prepare for their road trip to unbeaten U Delaware. The Black Bears taking on the Blue Hens for their third straight road game, also looking for their third straight win. Maine sits at 3-2 on the season, and this Delaware game begins a big stretch for Jordan Stevens and his Black Bears. After the 4-0 Blue Hens, they host 5th-ranked Villanova and then head to 19th-ranked Rhode Island. He says the bye week was really productive in terms of rest and work, but they're excited for the opportunity ahead of them.
The CAA has talent from top to bottom, and I think if we've learned anything, if you hadn't learned anything, you learned it this year in college football, that you got to show up ready to play. But certainly excited about the opportunity to come out with really face some really good teams. Obviously, our focus right now is on Delaware. That certainly presents enough to bite off this week, and then we'll move on from there.
Moving on now, it was not a good weekend for the Patriots, both on and off the field. New England taking another loss, 15-10, at the hands of the banged-up Miami Dolphins, and that wasn't the worst of the news. Patriots safety and team captain Jabril Peppers pleading not guilty Monday in an alleged domestic violence incident that happened Saturday morning. He is being charged with assault and battery, strangulation, and possession of a Class B substance. He will be back in court on November 22nd. Peppers did not play on Sunday in the Patriots' loss to Miami. Here's what Gerard Mayo had to say of the incident.
We informed the NFL, and we're still gathering information. I know the team put out a statement earlier today, so I'm not sure, how the league and how we are going to handle that going forward, but we should find out some more information over the next few days.
New England is back in action Sunday at 1, hosting the Houston Texans. Moving on to some high school football now, in a rare Monday night game over at Pottle Field. This one originally scheduled for Friday. John Bapst hosting the Black Raiders from Winslow. All tied at 14 in the second quarter. Aiden Willett looking to pass here. Can't connect with Malcolm Butler, but Liam Fortin is there for the interception right off the tip. Very next play, the Raiders have it. They are looking to air it out. Tucker Pomerlow to who? Guess who? Liam Fortin. What a stretch for the junior. 2 plays in a row, reeling in the long touchdown to take the lead. Bapst down 7 now, and here is Willett airing it out again. This time he's looking for Zach Babcock, and he is going to put Bapst at right about the 10-yard line, and that would set up this. Willett takes the snap, calls his own number, goes right up the gut. Bapst, they go on to win this one 35-21. And for some other scores from around the area, Edward Little beats Bangor in field hockey 2-1. Ellsworth beats Sumner in volleyball 3-1. Messalonsky just edges out Mount Blue in field hockey, and then Orono defeats Bucksport in boys soccer. All right, that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. But no matter what day of the week, Lowry & Associates is your go-to law firm. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Ready to refresh your home? Fall into savings with incredible deals at the Furniture Gallery. Shop new arrivals from top brands like Ashley, Serta, Restonic, Nectar, and Franklin. Fall in love with unbeatable deals like our sofa and love seat sets for only $9.99 or sofas starting at $3.99. Indulge in ultimate comfort with over 150 recliner styles starting at just $2.99. My family and I are committed to giving you the best value for your money at the Furniture Gallery. Support our main family-owned business and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the things that just will never come out. Oh, every now and then I rinse it out.
Fights odor in just one wash.
Welcome back, everyone. As you can see here, we have some special guests joining us today, telling us about a really neat adoption event coming up this week down on the coast. Joining us today from the SPCA of Hancock County is Mariah Donovan. And who do we have here?
This is Miriam, a.k.a. the Snaggletooth.
There's a reason why we call her that. Look at that. She's seeing herself on TV now. This might be my new favorite dog. She's been here for a little while now, and she's just the sweetest little thing. We'll get to the adoption event in just a few moments. But this is one of the dogs that was rescued from an unfortunate animal cruelty case down in Bucksport. You've been nursing her back to health, and now she's all ready for a new home.
She's got her sweater, she's got her smile, and she is ready to experience nothing but love.
Yeah.
That's all she wants.
Yeah.
Hi.
What kind of dog is she, and some things that people might need to know about her?
Yeah, she's a little medium pitty mix. She's got little short legs. She's a senior lady at about 9 years old. She eats a prescription diet, but don't let that scare you. You can get it right on Chewy. Yep. She's had a full senior blood work panel. She loves people, animals, everything. She's truly a perfect dog.
You guys were talking earlier. She sounds like a great dog for somebody who maybe can bring their dog into the office, or maybe somebody who doesn't really want to take a dog on a full walk all the time, because she doesn't seem like she would want that.
She's a happy little couch potato. She'd be a great office dog. She'll increase your sales, whatever you're looking to do. She'd be the best little mascot and door greeter.
She's just the sweetest thing, too. She leans right into the hugs, and somebody's going to get real lucky when they come and adopt her.
I really like her.
Just a sweetheart.
Is there anything folks should know because of the situation that she just came from? Is there any sort, like, she clearly is just still so vibrant with life, and she's okay. That didn't seem to affect her too bad.
That's what we keep saying about the 5 dogs from the state seizures. Unless you had seen them when they first came in, you wouldn't know what they had been through, because they're so sweet. They're so perfect. They're really, really good dogs. You know, they're trying their best, and they're doing amazing.
Right. And I mean, still, that's a testament to you guys doing all the hard work to help rehabilitate them too. So you guys are doing really important work. Also, we were talking before too, you guys are pretty full still.
Yes, we are pretty full. Our dog cages are pretty full. Cats are pretty full. Everything's pretty full. So looking for some really great homes for some really great animals.
And you've got a great incentive for people
and we've got a great incentive.
Yeah, coming up this Saturday, is it?
This Saturday, October 12th from 12 to 4. Thanks to the generosity of Stanley Subaru, we're able to offer $75 adoptions on any cat, any dog, any cat or dog under that umbrella is spayed or neutered, fully vaccinated, microchipped, up to date on flea, tick, and deworming. So it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah,
huge. You're saving a lot of money by doing that. And it's not only for people that want to adopt. If you have a pet already, you can bring them in there and get microchipped?
Yes, if you're not looking to adopt, we'll have a free microchip clinic for the community. We'll chip them and register them. It takes about 2 to 5 minutes. We'll have pizza and a local face painter, and of course animals. So just you know, even if you're not necessarily looking to adopt, you can still come down and have some animal fun.
Yeah,
that is fantastic. I adopted a kitty this year, and by the time I got it fixed and everything else, boy, it can be quite expensive. So $75 out there is quite a deal, and hopefully maybe this little girl will go home with somebody too.
That's what we're hoping. Get her smiling little snaggletooth out there in her favorite sweater, and find her perfect couch potato home or office.
I love this dog so much.
I'll tell you what,
She's
if I wasn't living in a house with 4 cats and a dog already, she'd become she is like the sweetest dog I've ever met.
She'll blend right into the couchscape. It'll be fine.
Good girl.
Well, Mariah, thank you so much for coming in here. You know, we hope to work with you in the future. Anytime you have something you want to spread the word about, you're welcome here on Good Morning Maine.
We'll bring more of our pets here, and you'll get to meet the whole crew.
That'll be great.
Thanks, Miriam.
We're going to send things back over to Devin now for another look at that forecast. Good girl.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Dense fog across parts of Bar Harbor and the parts of Washington County and the northern parts of the state this morning. We'll get this out of here as we get the day going. We do also have a small craft advisory that is set to expire at around 8 a.m. this morning, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it extended as active surf will continue along the coast. Frost advisory kicks in later on tonight until Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. for the western parts of the state. Wave heights looking very active out there right now at around 6 to 7 feet according to the buoys. Notice further out towards sea, even more active at around 11 to 13 feet, so they're dealing with active weather in that department. Meanwhile, though, here on land, we do have rain that's been passing through, tracking from the southwest going to the north and east. Again, throughout the morning, the rain will begin to taper off, and then this afternoon, decreasing clouds will be common. So let's zoom things out right now. Again, the rain is tracking off towards the north and east for us. So notice more active weather across parts of Florida, just a few showers for now. But of course, Hurricane Milton on everyone's everyone's mind right now, whether you're in the path of the storm or not. Look at this thing right now. A Category 4 major hurricane. This thing is really strong, going through an eyewall replacement cycle this morning. And right now, the latest update has at around 155 miles per hour. Category 4 hurricane knocking on the door of a Category 5. We have hurricane warnings up across parts of Florida right about in here. Tropical storm warnings being indicated in the orange. And the latest projected path, and this is just for the center of the storm, has it going through Florida possibly by Thursday morning as a major Category 3 hurricane. And areas near the Fort Myers area, near parts of Tampa, and even just slightly further off towards the north, anywhere there's a hurricane warning, these will be the areas that could see the worst impacts here. But anywhere there's advisories up, we'll see some kind of impacts from this system as it does pass through later on this week. But back here at home, though, a lot calmer. So the rain gets out of here, and then decreasing clouds for the rest of the day. Later on tonight, starting off clear, some clouds pass through, maybe a few passing showers at times too later on tonight and the parts of Wednesday morning. Nothing too ridiculous there. Notice a few more showers as we head towards Wednesday evening, but the clouds do linger though as we head towards early Thursday morning, maybe a few showers as well. So your forecast coming up for today: morning showers and decreasing clouds for the rest of the day with highs in the low 60s, northwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. Later on tonight, upper 30s, partly cloudy. Some rain showers may move in late, with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, upper 50s, partly cloudy, a few rain showers are possible. Southwest wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast with a few more showers possible. Wednesday to Thursday, temperatures in the 50s. We're partly cloudy by Friday with highs in the low 60s. More showers on the way for you Saturday with highs in the low 60s.
People ask me all the time, does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
When it comes to automotive and heavy equipment repair, trust the experts at CTI Service Center, located in Old Town and Milford. CTI offers heavy-duty part sales at our Old Town location, as well as on-the-road service with our heavy-duty mobile units. CTI also offers tire sales, including mount and spin balance, as well as Old Town's only heavy-duty alignment system. CTI Service Center diagnoses issues swiftly and accurately. For reliable service and peace of mind, give us a call or visit us online at ctiservicecenter.com. CTI Service Center, simply the best.
Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live Glow Party. Don't miss the world premiere of Stegosaurus and your favorites, Bigfoot, Megarex, Tiger Shark, and more. Be amazed by the high flyers of freestyle motocross and the all-new fire and frost-breathing robot, Arctic God. Plus the pre-show VIP and Power Smashers pre-show before each performance. Kids tickets start at just $12.50. Come watch your favorite Hot Wheels Monster Truck toys come to life at Cross Insurance Center, October 18th through the 20th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com.
Irresistibly smooth milk chocolate from the Lindt Master Chocolatier. Lindor. Made to melt you. And now, discover a new non-dairy Lindor. Made with oat milk. Made to melt you.
We have 30,000 ways to thank our loyal fans.
Courtroom leader, the judge.
Win one of 3 $10,000 cash prizes.
You just won the game, guys!
It's the 30K Thanks Arama giveaway.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
From Yoda's cane to Clint Eastwood's Duster Coat and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, hundreds of items will go under the hammer next month in a sale of movie and television memorabilia. Entertainment memorabilia auctioneer Prop Store is selling more than 1,800 items at its annual live auction, which this year runs from November 14th to 17th, and which it estimates could fetch more than £10 million. Items worn or used by some of Hollywood's biggest names are up for grabs, with plenty of lots from some of cinema's biggest franchises, including the James Bond and Harry Potter films. Leading the sale is a Sand Trooper helmet from the Move Along scene in Star Wars: A New Hope, which has a price estimate of $300,000 to $600,000.
Very interesting. Great Christmas gifts if you got an extra $300,000 kicking around.
Yeah, or $500,000.
Yeah. Well, finally, the Challenger Learning Center is once again holding its e-waste fundraiser. The nonprofit holds this event every spring and fall to raise funds for its science, technology, engineering, and mathematics programs. Residents from any town in Maine can drop off their old electronics from 8 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. all this week at North Coast Services in Hamden, where they will be recycled. Although e-waste drop-off is free, the suggested donation is $10 for the first item and $5 for each additional item, and those funds will be donated to the Challenger Learning Center.
I know sometimes people say, oh, I don't have young students right now, or I don't have, my grandchildren have gotten older. But this is the way you can still support a really fabulous education center here for Maine students.
To find out what items can and cannot be recycled, you can log on to astronaut.org and click on e-waste disposal. I've taken advantage of that myself before, got rid of a few old computers, an old TV. You know, they kind of pile up around the house after a while.
I know, and there's not really a lot of worth to some of the old technology, and Goodwill won't take it, so this is the best option.
Yeah, and you'll be helping the Challenger Center at the same time.
Right. All right, looks like we're running out of time. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, she's always at home on our set thanks to her naturally pod-shaped shoulders. It's Melissa Peterman! And joining Melissa are cousins Duran and Kira.